immigration and the population growth. We see uh, liberals, I would say, not taking a uh, very hard take on the immigration. Liberals see it as we still have job vacancies opening up, and boomers age group is retiring, so we do need to fill job vacancies. So they do not take immigration as a very hard take. However, that is impacting housing crisis as well. We need to keep that in mind. Couple of things to note is Canada in 2022 welcomed close to 440,000 permanent residents. This is the most that we ever saw in a single year. And their approach was to double the annual immigration targets in since 2015, which was to make around aiming for around 500,000 PRs per year by 2025. Looks like they were heading towards it. However, the roadblocks that started to appear were housing crisis, inflation, and even at one point unemployment rising as well. There was a focus on immigration, but I would say there wasn't a lot of focus on niche specific immigration that was required when there were a lot of vacancies in medical staffing, a lot of trades that had a lot of issues with the employers to fulfill the roles. However, low skilled workers were still pouring into the country. What do you think, Arjit?
If I had a country of almost 400 million people and I were to tell you, Sunny, 800,000 people came in. Remember this, you have a country of 400 million or 380 million people living in the country, and I tell you 500,000 people or 800,000 people came into the country. Do you think that is a big enough impact, or do you think that is not a very huge impact?
Yeah, I see where you're heading with it. This
Now,
is
now, now compare this to almost 1.3 million people coming into a country which has a population of only 40 million. Now that number seems really huge. In 2023 and 2024, 1.3 million people came into Canada. They came into Canada either as students or temporary visas or refugees trying to get their permanent residentship status in Canada. And if you're getting new people, if you're getting high immigration in Canada, what is the quality of people? What is the credibility? How educated really are these people in Canada? I can bet you this, Sunny. Out of the 1.3 people that are coming into Canada, less than 2% are going to be able to create jobs for Canadians. Less than 2% of the 1.3 million people. The people who are coming into Canada, what kind of field of work are they going in? They are trying to become a waiter in a restaurant. They are trying to go into sanitation cleaning industry. They are trying to go into trucking industry. They're trying to become truck drivers. We see a lot of students who are coming into Canada working as a truck driver in Canada. These people, they're finding jobs in job agencies. They are finding jobs in warehouses, in industries, whatever position they're trying to apply for. They are working inside of Tim Hortons, a lot of these restaurants. What kind of culture are they really bringing in to this country? Recently, we saw a case of Paul Chung, where he was accused of helping out China. We have evidence where there has been some interference into elections in Canada by other countries, again, such as China or India for that matter. And then there are some MPPs and MPs in the parliament in Canada who want to serve China or India before they serve Canada. And why is that the case? That is because of high, uncontrolled, unvetted immigration. That is because the immigration system as a whole has been such horribly managed by the Trudeau government in the past 7, 8, 9 years that anybody from anywhere, is able to come into the country without any repercussion, is able to do whatever he or she wants, and the whole country has to suffer. I blame, if the crime rate is going up, I blame the immigration 100%. The kind of the quality of people, the credibility of the people who are coming, the culture that they're bringing along with them into this country is completely unvetted. I don't think it's even 5% worth of what we are supposed to have in this country to be able, for somebody to be able to create jobs, for somebody to be able to contribute to the society in Canada. We need more businesses in Canada at this point. And the way the immigration is being handled in Canada, I don't think that is just going to be a dream for a lot of people. Again, not achievable. One of the primary reasons the way housing is in Canada is only because of high immigration. There are more people in Canada than there is housing supply in Canada. And when you have more people in Canada, what are they going to do? They are going to do speculative investment. For those of you who do not know what speculative investment is, it's just like your neighbor investor who is buying 5 6 properties, just thinking that he might be able to get in on some appreciation train and then sell his property and get his appreciation gain. And for all those uneducated investors who try to buy properties, they sell the house when the appreciation is high, and they run into issues such as paying high capital gain taxes. And then they complain that, oh, housing is too much expensive, taxes are too high. Well, taxes are too high, but anyway, again, they are paying too many taxes on cap when it comes to capital gains. And because of these people, Chrystia Freeland in the budget with Justin Trudeau came out, and they converted. They increased the inclusion rate from 50% to almost 66%, and then they changed the capital gain structure and how you would pay capital gains, where before the 50% of the profit that you would have from the selling the property, where you'd have to pay the capital gain tax on the 50% of the profit. If you were to sell the property in less than 12 months, the whole gain would be treated as a business income, where you would have to pay the capital gain tax on 100% of the gain if you were to sell the property in less than 12 months. And that is why Mark Carney, the first thing when he came into office after Justin Trudeau resigned, after he became the leader of the Liberals in federal level, he reversed the inclusion rate effect that was going to begin in 2026. These are very small things that end up costing big for you and for me and for everyday hardworking citizens. A person who has been working in a job for 15 years continuously is still not able to buy their first investment property in the province of Ontario. Buying a property is just like a far-fetched dream at this point. And again, I blame this on immigration. I think immigration can be really handled very well. And again, I truly trust Pierre Poilievre's policy on this. Again, if you see Mark Carney's policy on immigration, what really has he come out with the policy? All he said is that he is going to be capping the immigration levels that are coming into Canada, and then the temporary residents who are already in Canada, he is going to push for them to become permanent residents. He is going to push for them to have a permanent resident status. But again, what and how are they contributing to the society in Canada versus the proper merit system that we really want in Canada? During COVID, what was the biggest issue that we faced? The biggest issue was not the labor crisis. The biggest issue was the skilled labor crisis. One of the primary issues that the developers and builders are facing in Canada is that they don't have enough skilled labor. If there are quality issues in a real estate project, that is only because we don't have the labor. We have the labor, we don't have the skilled labor. Why is it that the US is getting investments for the chips? The US has all these companies who are able to produce chips, who are able to take the technology, the innovation, the businesses onto the next level, but we don't have anything similar, remotely similar to in Canada, because we just don't have skilled enough population. Why? Because all the population that Canada is interacting right now is completely clueless, has no merit, has no credibility, has no skills. We are just inviting anybody and everybody into Canada. Now, I am not saying that I'm against immigration in its entirety, but what I do want is to see a more controlled, managed system where we are vetting the people who are immigrating in Canada. For starters, do not invite 1.3 million people into Canada in a single year. I don't think we need more than 100,000 people, new people in Canada at this point, right now, until the current issues have been resolved, whether be it taxes, whether be it housing, whether be it climate, whether be it anything. We don't need labor right now. We need skilled labor right now who can produce more. It's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Quality is something we really need right now in Canada to be able to compete at the same stage as China, as UK, as some of the Asian countries such as India, such as US. I mean, look at Tim Cook. When there was some interview that Tim Cook had, and he was asked a question if he would be able to bring the manufacturing jobs from China into the US, and he said it's not about the low wages labor. It's not about the 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 price of the labor wage that you're paying in China to manufacture an iPhone. It's about the level of skill. It's not about how many people you have on a line who can really screw down a nail into an iPhone. It's about how many people you have down the line who have the proper technical skill, who have the know-how education on where exactly the screw has to go, and if there's any issue, how to fix that. In Canada, if we have three people who have the proper technical skills, China, India, US, these countries, they have 10 times, 20 times more people like those. China, they don't even take immigration. Dubai, they don't even take immigration. Poland, they don't even take immigration. US is now controlling immigration. They are deporting everybody. They have created literally an app to self deport for the people. Canada, agreed, it has a lot of land mass available to the people, and compared to the land mass which is available in the country, we have only 40 million population. But if we control how we are vetting the immigration, how we are controlling the immigration, if we really manage the system on exactly who we let in the country, I think we can really make this country more stronger than our neighbors and competitors. What are your views on this, Sunny?
Yeah, immigration is straining the economy. We do see both Carney and Polyev acknowledging immigration's role in fueling the labor force. With Canada's low birth rate and the retiring boomer population, there is a requirement to fulfill the job vacancies and innovation, which is being fulfilled by the immigration right now. We see Canada now regularly holds a high position in population growth in the G7 countries, with the population right now being around 2.7% and 96% out of that being the immigration. So that's a big take on the immigration right now.
You know what? I really think this is the really nice focus that Canada can put right now. Rather than getting in new people coming into Canada, the country can really focus on childbirth. How many babies are being born in a year, in a day, in a month? I think they're supposed to be. Russia. Russia has so many soldiers who died in the war, and as a result, Russia is really incentivizing the small girls, the 17-year-old girls, the 18-year-old girls, the 16-year-old girls to have more babies, 16-year-old girls to have more babies, and then Russia, the government itself, would supplement these girls, these young ladies, with the financial help to support these babies. They want their more childbirth to take place in the country, and that is exactly what we want. I mean, if you see the more immigrants that are coming into Canada, they take a more liberal stand, but the children of all these immigrants, they take more conservative stand. There is a huge difference. The parents, they have more liberal stand, they have more liberal ideology. They look at the country as if Trudeau would look at the country. However, their own children, they look at the country from more conservative point of view. They know what is going on with the country, what is their future in the country. The parents bought the first house from the money they bought from back home or from jobs. However, the children, as they move forward, the cost of housing is going up and up, and they see housing a far-fetched opportunity for them. And a fun fact, even Sunny, if I don't know if you know this, the 30-year-olds, the people in the age group of 25 to 35-year-old age groups in Canada right now, they are, and this is by the way, according to the Abacus poll. If you go on the Abacus website, you're going to be able to find this information. Apparently, according to the Abacus polling system, they found that people between the ages of 25 and 35 are more likely to vote conservative in Canada rather than liberals. They have the ideology of liberals, they have the ideology of liberalism in Canada. However, they are more likely to vote conservative only because of the issues such as housing and immigration. The youth in Canada wants housing and immigration to be dealt with. And these are some issues that I think that the candidates should really focus on during these campaigns. And let's see how everything turns out. What are your views, Sunny?
Yes, immigration is a topic that is in minds of both the governments, and they have their takes on it. Where we see liberals being a more easy going with the immigration for now. They do not have a hard stance on it. Pierre Poilievre's approach to the immigration is more to so in regards to whatever we can house. So we see conservative focusing on more towards housing affordability or housing demand and pricing being the criteria to meet their immigration levels. On the other hand, we see liberals, they are basically working towards filling out the job vacancies and supporting the economic growth. Now, I do not know for a fact as to what their cap might be. From the previous government, we see that they were aiming to around 500,000 a year. So that's what we have right now with the immigration. Let's talk about media culture in terms from liberals and conservatives point of view. We see conservatives, they are vouching out to not have a government funded media outlet, which is a CBC. They're trying to cut all the funding to the outlet. However, on the liberal side, while already funding it, they more so are looking at around $150 million a year of a fund towards CBC or radio outlet as a national media outlet for the Canada. They're trying to put this funding structure in the law so that the parliament would have to pass legislation to change it. So we do see an approach being different from both the parties, where one party, which is liberal, advocating for having a media outlet, advocating for the government to the day-to-day consumers. I do see that that would improve in certain aspects to the consumers. That way, you would have more awareness in a society where you already have a government-backed funding, that the media is approaching the public, outletting their media stances to the public. The public is getting more acknowledgement or more news by that. On the other hand, we see conservatives trying to cut that funding so that there is less of a bias for one particular government, for one particular party. Both the parties have their approach. What do you think, Archit?
$1.2 billion. $1.2 billion is what CBC, Canada Broadcasting Corporation, took from Canada under Trudeau. Why do we need to fund a media outlet in Canada? Why cannot we have independent media outlets in Canada? Why does the country need to fund its media outlets? There is a reason why most media outlets, news outlets we have in Canada, are left leaning, because they are run and funded by the government of Canada. We need more independent media. Now, I will not claim that I am right wing or left wing. I consider more myself as a centrist, but in my opinion, I think Pierre Poilievre might be right on this issue. I think we need to cut the funding and we need to bail out, stop bailing out these media outlets. $1.2 billion is what CBC claimed. CBC got in funding from the government of Canada, and hundreds of millions of dollars is what CTV News, the media outlet CTV, got from Canada under the wage subsidy program. How many right leaning media outlets can you really count in Canada versus the left leaning? I believe almost 80% of all the outlets that we have are left leaning versus just a 15-20% of them who are right leaning.